Hey there, Misfits. This is Kate.
And this is Kevin.
Welcome to Horrorwood. I feel like I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
It's been a couple weeks at least.
Yeah, because you were out of town.
I was. I went back to West Virginia and then to Pittsburgh and then to Katanning and then to Parkersburg and Marietta and then back to Charleston and then back to Chicago.
Just a
Oh,
world traveler.
Over.
A West Virginia
Virginia world traveler.
Woo woo.
My flight got canceled one day because
Yeah.
there was storms in Chicago and so I had to stay an extra day. But whatever. It was okay.
Speaking of Chicago weather, today it's like fall and I love it.
It's gorgeous
It's
outside.
so nice and cool out. I really hope it stays like this. And
Me
I
too.
really hope that we're heading into this kind of weather for good because I don't know if I can do the 90s anymore.
I can't with the heat. If it happens again, I might lose it.
If it happens again, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm over
Done
it.
for.
You just see me in my car with suitcases and I'm like, I'm going to the Arctic. Greenland. People live there, right?
Greenland. I've never heard someone
I
pronounce
don't-
it so.
I know it's Greenland.
I liked it.
Thank you.
Greenland. You know what else I like?
Fall gift packages.
Yes. And I was going to say I like new Patronians,
Oh.
which many of them were going to get the fall gift
Right.
packages.
It goes hand in hand. I was on the right track.
You were. So we have a few to shout out. Do you want to start?
Yes. So at the Misfit Murderino tier, we have Brooke Avashay.
Hey, Brooke.
Hey, Brooke. Hey, girl. How you doing? Welcome to Horrorwood.
Thanks for joining the Patreon.
Thank you. And then we have Penny Wilson.
Penny Wilson is such a cute little name.
I am obsessed with that name, Penny.
But
I
she
feel like-
pledged more than a penny.
Did she
pledged
pledge
on
the year?
Murderiner. I can't remember.
Murderiner.
The Murderiners. That's what they are now.
That's what we're calling them. If you pledge the whole year, you're not a murderino.
You're a murderiner.
There's something to do with mariner and maritime.
And murderer?
You're sailing the seas of Horrorwood.
Something. We might be off track.
We're going to workshop that.
Okay.
But thank you for joining. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. We also have Alicia or Alicia. It's Alicia, which makes me think Alicia Silverstone, but she might go by Alicia. And either one is amazing because she joined our Misfit Murderino tier. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, it's Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I haven't
pretty
saying it
sure.
wrong.
I think a lot of people have, and maybe I'm wrong still, but I think it's Alicia.
I saw Kirsten Dunst talking about how everyone calls her Kristen or Kirsten. And she's like, I just stopped caring. There's no point in
Yeah.
me trying to correct anything. Call me
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah. The next person I'm just going to call User because that's what their screen name is. And so User, which feels very cryptic, but I love it. Thank you so much. And I couldn't even glean a name from the email because the email is very similar to their screen name.
That's amazing.
I do like it. So User, thank you for signing up on our Patreon.
Thank you, user. Thank you for using our Patreon.
Hey. And for all of our Misfit Murderinos, you are going to get the fall gift package if you opted in for gifts. I'm not sure everybody did on there,
Okay.
but if you did, you're going to get a little something from us in the mail in about a month or so, month and a half maybe.
Yes. And sign up by September 1st.
So yeah, I think next Monday is September.
Yeah, next Monday, September 1st.
Hot damn. Wow. Okay. So yeah, you're running out of time. Sign up.
That scares me.
Don't be scared. And do we have one more?
Oh my God. Sorry. Yes.
You just looked at me like, and
I was
next?
like, and next, Kate? And she's like, it's you, bitch. So at the accomplice level, we have Gone Girl.
Hey.
Gone Girl, I love your name. That's awesome. Is it the singer? Is it a nod
Doubtful.
to the book?
Maybe.
And movie? I think
Possibly.
so. Are you a true crime fan?
I would think so
I
if
think
she's
so.
on our Patreon.
100%. Well, welcome, Gone Girl.
Yes, thank you. And Gone Girl signed up as a yearly Accomplice member, which is awesome.
I love these people.
I do too. I love all the people. You know what else I'm loving right now?
What?
There is this podcast that I started listening to called Crime Adjacent. And it's interesting. I think you would like it.
Okay. Tell me more.
It's scripted.
Mm-hmm.
It's classified. I don't think that's the right description. It's described as fictional true crime. And I was like, isn't that an oxymoron? But
fictional true crime.
Yeah.
I do like that description.
Interesting. So it kind of like blurs the lines between reality and maybe some very scary but not real things, but it's kind of hard to know which, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's immersive. I think he also like has a Patreon where you kind of join and he like assigns a story or something and they get together, which is kind of cool. Yeah. The host name is Chase Patrick. He releases every Wednesday, and this season he is talking about a serial killer in the U.S. That kind of slipped under the radar for 30 years. Do you know about the rest stop killer?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, maybe you'll learn something from Crime Adjacent.
That sounds amazing.
That's what this season is about. And he kind of injects his own personal story into it. So it's interesting. But again, it's a little bit, I will say, atmospheric. And you're not really sure what's real and what isn't. It's kind of like a genre bending podcast that puts in speculative storylines, but onto real true crime cases.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Anywhere where you get podcasts.
What's it called again?
Crime Adjacent.
Crime Adjacent.
Yes.
I'm going to check that out. That sounds great.
For sure. I have a not so great story for us today.
Oh, blarf.
Yeah, it's rough. I will say it's also a pretty well-known case.
Oh.
So if you've heard it, don't give it away.
I won't.
Okay. It's definitely out there in the true crime world, especially within the entertainment industry. So some of our listeners might know it. But for those who don't, let me just take you on the journey.
Let's go. We're on the roller coaster. We're climbing the hill.
Ooh. Oh, the clunk.
Oh, no. What
That's
happened?
when I go, oh, no.
No.
Ride's broken. It was around 5 p.m. on Friday, December 9th, 1988, when 41-year-old Mary Ellen Samuels and her 18-year-old daughter, Nicole, left the condo they shared and went to the nearby home of Bob Samuels. Bob and Mary Ellen were technically married. However, they were separated at the time, hence the separate residences.
Gotcha.
Nicole was Bob's adopted daughter. He raised her. She referred to him as her dad. She just lived with her mom. Mary Ellen and Bob took turns taking care of the family dog. They'd gotten a dog when they were living together, but after they separated, they switched off who would have it for that week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. So Mary Ellen had left a couple of messages for Bob that week, just saying like, hey, let me know when is a good time to drop by so I can hand over the dog. But he never returned her calls.
No.
After a couple of attempts, she was like, this is weird. I know he's not on vacation or anything. Like, why isn't he responding? He did sometimes have to travel for work. He was a second assistant cameraman or second AC in the film industry. The second AC is the one who does the slate with the clapperboard, like scene 1, take 2.
Clack.
Clack.
Oh, I think that we should change the fan clacking to film clacking.
Fan clacking.
You know, in like the drag world, people have the fans and they go clack, 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 clack. Have you never seen that?
I didn't know that.
Kate, I'm going to take you to a drag show.
I need to go to more drag brunches.
Yes, I'll make that happen for you.
Okay, thank you. The second AC also assists with setting up the camera, changing the lenses, loading and unloading the film. So kind of a super important job.
Super important.
And that was what Bob did.
And super cool. I love that.
I always wanted to clack the
Oh, we should make that happen for
take
us.
2.
Does Matt have access to a clacker?
I mean, I don't think he can just like take it home.
Oh, well, we'll figure something out.
You know what? Maybe if I visit him at work one day, I could be like, hey, can I just, even though that's not his department, but I'll
Can I
just be like,
clack the camera thing?
I just want to, I think especially if I ask like that, they'll be like, sure, you seem super responsible.
Yeah, go ahead. Just do it real quick.
Oh, yikes. So Bob had worked as a second AC on several movies, including Real Genius with Val Kilmer,
Oh.
Short Circuit with Ali Sheedy and Steve Guttenberg. Did you ever see that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember liking that as a kid. And The Color Purple with Oprah.
The Color Purple.
The Color Purple, you say?
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. So those are just some of his projects.
Damn.
And at this point in our story, he had just started working on Lethal Weapon 2, which was being shot in Los Angeles. So Bob was in town.
Yeah.
And it was odd that Mary Ellen couldn't reach him at home. Gary McLeod, the first AC for Lethal Weapon 2, worked with Bob and described him as being really well organized. He had great concentration and was a really talented camera assistant. Side note, Gary McLeod went on to become a cinematographer and then a director, and he's directed episodes for like a gajillion TV shows.
Wow.
You should look him up.
Okay, Gary McLeod.
So Bob had been showing up to work as far as we know. He's in LA, but he's not answering his phone or returning Mary Ellen's calls. That's when she and her daughter Nicole decided to just go on over to his house. See what's up. He lived in a house in North Hills, which is a neighborhood of Los Angeles. And when they arrived, they knocked on the door. He doesn't answer. They start banging on the door. He still doesn't answer. So they decide to go inside. It's unclear if the door was unlocked or if it was locked and Mary Ellen used a key, which she would have had.
Right.
When they walked in, it was immediately clear why Bob had not been answering Mary Ellen's phone calls and why he didn't come to the door. He was lying face down in the hallway, kind of on his left side, almost like in the fetal position.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing nothing except his underwear, and there was a pool of blood around his head.
Oh, no.
It was clear he was dead.
He was dead. Damn.
Mary Ellen immediately called 911.
Mm-hmm.
When officers arrived on the scene, Mary Ellen and Nicole were standing outside the home, visibly in shock, obviously. So detectives went in and began to look around. Taking a closer look at Bob, he had what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the head from a shotgun, as well as another wound to the back of the head where he had been hit with either a weapon or pipe of some sort.
Oh, my God.
Bob didn't show any physical signs of a struggle, so unfortunately there wasn't any DNA underneath his fingernails or anything that could help pinpoint his killer. Lying next to him was a pillow with a hole through it that had clearly been used as a silencer for the gunshot. There were no casings found at the scene, but Thomas Odell, a sergeant investigator for the homicide department, stated that if it's not an automatic shotgun, the casings will stay inside the gun, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But I don't know much about guns.
I don't either.
So there's no weapon or shotgun casings to give them information. They start looking around the house, and the scene was weird. There were no signs of forced entry. However, there was a sliding glass door that was open about 6 to 8 inches. Maybe that had been unlocked and the killer got in that way. Unsure. The house looked like it had been slightly ransacked, but nothing appeared to have been taken. Bob's wallet was there and his cash and cards were still inside. There was a drawer that had an envelope with $6,000 in cash in it. It appeared to have been untouched.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Who just has $6,000 lying around?
Yeah. So investigators rule out robbery as a motive.
Immediately.
Detective George Daly was assigned as the lead investigator on the case. So his first task was to interview Mary Ellen and Nicole, one, to rule them out as suspects, and two, to find out more about Bob, what kind of business he was involved in, who his friends were. Is there anyone that might have been holding a grudge against him?
Yeah.
Aside from his work in the film industry, Mary Ellen told Detective Daly that she and Bob owned and operated a Subway sandwich shop together.
Yum.
Your face just now, you got so happy.
Delish. Tell me everything.
Bob was the owner and she was the manager, and this arrangement had continued even after they separated. So Daly asked for a list of all the employees at the restaurant, which she gave him. Did one of these employees have some kind of grudge against Bob? Both Mary Ellen and Nicole said Bob wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, why would an employee have it out for him?
Wouldn't hurt a fly and probably makes a great sub sandwich. Do we know the name of the restaurant?
Subway.
Oh, it's Subway. I thought I heard something different. I heard something different. I don't know.
I was going to say, I didn't know you liked Subway that much.
I do like Subway. This is totally off topic, and I'm so sorry to talk about sandwiches when we're talking about such a gruesome murder. But of the three main sandwich shops, which is your favorite, Kate?
Well, what are you classifying
as the
three main?
I'm saying Subway, Jimmy John's, and
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
Well, considering that Jimmy John's and Subway have some problematic histories, Jersey Mike's is my go-to. And I listened to a How I Built This episode on Jersey Mike's, the founder of it. And he's just like a good dude. And I liked what he represented. So I'm going Jersey Mike's all the way.
I love it, Kate. I'm up there with you. I do like a good Subway now and then. I understand the problems.
Hashtag not an ad.
Listeners, I'm very sorry.
Actually, I'm going to have some water.
I'm going to do that too. Because when we were talking about sandwiches, my nose started running. Disgusting.
Pull it together over there.
I'm going to tell you about the sandwiches.
Oh, God. So Mary Ellen and Nicole said that Bob often helped out his neighbors with things, and he was quick to loan money out to friends if they needed it. So then you think, okay, had he loaned someone money that couldn't pay him back, and maybe there was some type of confrontation? It's definitely a possibility.
Yes.
According to his autopsy, Bob had been dead for a minimum of 12 hours before Mary Ellen and Nicole found him. He'd been heading into a room in his house where he had a tanning bed, which detectives determined was the reason he was only wearing his underwear.
Tanning bed.
Yeah. Very dangerous. It was the 80s, though. A lot of people did.
Oh, everyone had a tanning bed in the 80s.
Well, I don't know that everyone had one.
Or they were going to one.
They were going.
And everybody looked like, pork rinds.
Yikes. Bob was first hit in the back of the head with an object, presumably the shotgun barrel, which knocked him down. Then he was shot in the head with the pillow acting as a silencer. Mm-hmm. Based on the fragments the medical examiner found on him, the weapon was a 16-gauge shotgun. Unfortunately, there were no prints left at the scene. No clothing fibers left behind. Whoever did this knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Detectives start tracking down Bob's friends and colleagues, and they all said the same thing, that he was a really generous guy, a hard worker, he was quiet. He wasn't a partier or anything like that. He was just very focused. So, according to literally everyone, Bob was a stand-up guy. Who could he have pissed off so badly that they would want him dead?
Well, and also to do such a calculated murder.
Yes. It feels very... Is meticulous the word I'm looking for?
I think so. It is very meticulous to not leave anything behind like that. That's hard to do.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
For sure. It was while talking to some of Bob's coworkers that new information came to light that might help solve the case, or at the very least provide a motive. So different unions represent the different departments in the film industry. Mm-hmm. Actors have the Screen Actors Guild, directors have the Directors Guild, and those working in the camera department have IATSE Local 600, which is also known as the International Cinematographers Guild. This is the union for cinematographers, first and second ACs, like Bob, basically anyone involved with the camera equipment. This was the union that Bob belonged to, and prior to his murder, another union member was going around spreading this idea that people no longer had to pay taxes. Gary McLeod, the director I mentioned earlier, said, quote, "There was a pervasive fantasy that was being promoted by a certain member of the union that you didn't have to pay taxes because dollars were no longer backed by gold. It was ridiculous."
What?
But some of the union members went along with this idea.
You guys...
Well, the IRS caught on.
Oh, well, yeah, no shit.
All they had to do was go, that's weird. These people are all in the same union, and some of them have taxes and some of them don't. So there was a big investigation into these people for tax evasion. It was for a lot of money.
Was that like a conspiracy theory with the gold?
I have no
That's
idea.
That's crazy to me. Like,
yeah.
So hey, so we just don't have to pay taxes.
It makes me wonder, like, did he just not want to pay his taxes, so he was trying to get everyone else not to do it so that it wouldn't look
bad on him?
Like he wouldn't be singled out?
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's wild. Or did he actually believe that you just didn't have to pay taxes anymore?
It sounds like a little bit of both.
It's bizarre. Bob was not one of the ones who avoided paying taxes, but he did agree to testify against the colleagues of his that were involved.
Oop.
So obviously this is going to stir some feathers within his industry and his union. Detectives investigating his murder were like, that's interesting. They start looking into this lead and learn that one of the primary suspects Bob had testified against had actually fled the country and was never seen again.
Dang.
He wasn't in the U.S. when Bob was killed. So that trail went cold. They had nothing else to go on.
Whoa.
Detectives continue to interview Bob's friends, and they meet a woman named Judy McCoy. No relation. Judy had known Bob since she was around 11 or 12 years old. Bob and her brother went to school together and were really good friends. So he was always at their house. And Bob and Judy developed kind of like a brother-sister type of relationship. They were really close. So she's known him most of her life at this point and knows him well.
Yeah.
And Judy presented another possible lead into his murder. At the time of his passing, Bob and Mary Ellen had been separated for about 2 years. I don't think it was quite that long. But there was always a hope of reconciliation, that they would work things out, which is why they hadn't gotten a divorce. But Judy told detectives that a couple of months prior to his death, Bob had called her up and told her that he was really lonely. Judy told him, well, I actually have this friend and she's kind of going through the same thing. She and her husband are separated. I know that she's also feeling lonely right now. And I don't know, maybe you two might hit it off. Or at the very least, it's someone to talk to who is going through a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob agreed to meet Judy's friend. And the two of them did hit it off. They had great chemistry. It was an immediate connection, and they began a relationship. But there was a problem. Even though this woman and her husband were separated, he wasn't entirely out of the picture. He was an extremely jealous and possessive person. Not just when it came to his estranged wife seeing other men, but also when she wanted to hang out with female friends. During an interview in a documentary for this case, Judy said that, quote, even though they were separated, she wouldn't be able to just go out and have coffee with me or lunch with me unless she got permission from him. Scary.
That's terrifying.
Yikes. But also, Judy, why would you set this woman up with your friend, Bob, if you knew that her husband was, like, jealous? I'm not here to blame Judy.
No.
I'm just saying. It's
a strange thing.
Yes. Detectives look into this jealous control freak of an estranged husband and learn that he was a former cop with domestic violence issues. And he owned shotguns. So they're like, he sounds interesting.
Well.
Maybe we should go talk to this guy.
Yeah.
An ex-cop with a history of violence who owns shotguns is going to know things like using a pillow as a silencer, avoiding leaving fingerprints at the crime scene. Investigators track him down and learn that he was now working as a security guard at a nightclub. So they spoke with his boss at the nightclub because they're just trying to find out more about him, what his schedule is. And it turns out that this estranged husband was working during the time frame investigators believe Bob was murdered.
Ah, shit.
His boss was like, here's when he worked during this particular week. He was here these days at these times. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm the one that took his time card, so I'm telling you, like, I know he was here.
Yeah.
And with that, detectives were at another dead end.
God, you know, all the ex-cops that I've ever met in my life have been jackasses.
I was going to say, probably not great.
Jackasses. And then they keep working. and then you have to deal with them. It sucks.
Have you dealt with a lot of cops?
A few.
Okay.
I mean, not like I haven't committed any crimes.
You had trouble saying that sentence.
That sounds really fake.
I haven't committed any crimes.
No, but I've run into a few, and it's just like, dude, just calm your shit.
I don't know. Not that there aren't great cops.
Oh my God, please.
We're not saying that.
I'm not
so
generalizing.
Y'all don't need to come for us. But I do understand what you're saying. I think it especially, like, it's unclear how this guy lost his job, but it sounds like there were maybe some issues and he was let go, but who knows? I don't know. Detectives did interview all of the Subway restaurant employees on that list Mary Ellen had given, but that didn't turn up any helpful information. And by now it's been 3 weeks since Bob was killed, and detectives aren't any closer to figuring out who did this or why.
Damn.
Then a few days later, Mary Ellen Samuels filed a claim on Bob's life insurance policies. Ruh-roh.
Oh, God.
As Bob's widow, Mary Ellen was listed as the beneficiary on his policies. The money from the policies would be enough to pay off the mortgages for the Subway restaurant and Bob's home, and Mary Ellen would inherit those properties. In total, the policies were valued at more than $500,000.
Ooh.
And this is the 80s. So
my God.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
An insurance investigator called Detective Daly, that lead investigator, to ask if Mary Ellen was a suspect in Bob's murder, because obviously they're not going to pay it out if she is. Yeah. And Detective Daly had to say no, she wasn't a suspect. In fact, she'd been cooperative from the beginning. There was no evidence against her. So the agent said, okay, I will begin processing her claims. Even though they didn't really have any reason to suspect her, this did raise alarm bells with investigators.
Yes.
So they thought, let's just talk to her again, maybe see if she'd be willing to take a polygraph test. She agrees. Senior Detective John Beerer called her up and she said, sure, I can come to the station, whatever you need me to do. So Mary Ellen gets to the station, they hook her up to the polygraph machine, and they begin questioning her. They asked, did you participate in the shooting of your husband? She answered no. They asked, do you know who killed your husband? She answered no. They asked, were Bob's life insurance policies a factor in his murder? She answered no. They asked, did you have any reason to kill your husband? And she answers no. They asked her, where were you on the date Bob is believed to have been murdered? Because remember, he was found at least 12 hours after he was killed.
Yes.
She answered, I was at home at my condo. Mary Ellen passed the polygraph test with flying colors. She came back truthful on everything.
Okay.
So detectives are again at a loss. Months go by with no leads, and the investigation was declared a cold case. And that's all we know. Just kidding.
Kate, don't you pull that shit. I was about to be like,
You looked at me like, what? No, just kidding. They didn't have much evidence. The leads they did have ended up being dead ends, and it was looking like whoever killed Bob might just get away with it. But then, on May 1st, 1989, 5 months after the murder, Detective John Beerer, who I just mentioned before, was sitting at his desk when the phone rang. Beerer answers it, and a man on the other end of the line who did not want to identify himself said, I know about the Robert Samuels case. I know who killed him. The caller gave the killer's name as Jim Bernstein and told Detective Beerer, if I call you again, you'll know it's me because I'll say, a rose is a rose, but the nose always knows.
Shut the fuck up, Dr. Seuss.
So Beerer's like, cool poem, bro. Thanks for the tip.
Thanks for the tip. Bye, crazy.
So the team of investigators, they have to look into this, obviously. So they start doing some digging on this Jim Bernstein guy. Who is he? The first thing they do is run a check to see if he has a criminal record. And he did have some arrests for minor drug offenses. But they can't figure out how he would be connected to Bob Samuels. As far as they knew, Bob wasn't involved in drugs. This didn't seem like a drug deal gone wrong.
Yeah.
So they go back to Mary Ellen and her daughter Nicole to see if they know this Jim guy and how he might know Bob. And the detectives learn that Jim is dating Nicole. According to Nicole, the relationship was very casual. Jim was way more interested in her than she was in him, which is odd because in actuality, Jim and Nicole were engaged. It seems there's more to the Samuels family than investigators initially realized, so let's take a closer look.
Ooh.
Bob Samuels was born on September 20th, 1948 in North Carolina, but he moved to Southern California as a kid. His neighbor in California was Mary Ellen Gurnick at the time. She was born in 1947, so she's a year older than him and literally the girl next door.
Oh my God.
Her family was close, often doing things together like going to Disneyland, going to the movies. She's described as being very pretty and popular. All the boys had a crush on her, including Bob. According to Bob's sister Susan, he'd been infatuated with Mary Ellen ever since elementary school. But he was really shy, so he didn't know how to talk to her. And even when he got a little older and was a teenager, he couldn't get up the nerve to ask her out. Instead, he focused on school and photography, a passion of his. Judy, Bob's friend I mentioned earlier, the brother-sister type relationship, she said in an interview, quote, "I recall one day Bob came to our house and he was sharing some of the pictures he had taken. He was talking about the lighting to get this picture just perfect, and he was so excited and said that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life."
Oh, nice. I love that.
So his love of photography naturally led him to working in the camera department in Hollywood. Mary Ellen went on to get married and have her daughter Nicole, but the marriage didn't work out. Then in 1979, at the Santa Ana Valley High School reunion, both Bob and Mary Ellen were in attendance, and they started chatting. And they hit it off immediately. They got married a mere 6 months later.
Dang, they fell hard.
Bob felt like he had hit the jackpot. This was his childhood crush,
Yeah.
the girl of his dreams. And he absolutely adored her daughter Nicole, so he was over the moon when he got to adopt her. Bob's friends and family said he loved being a dad. Here he is, he's 32, he's got his family, he's just getting started in his career. He and Mary Ellen bought a house in North Hills, and after a while they decided they wanted to own a business together. Bob was busy with his career. I mean, you think about like how long a film shoot is, like those days.
Yeah.
The camera department, they're getting there before the actors get there, and
Yeah.
they're still there after the actors leave. So those are some long hours.
Oh, God, that has to be a tiring day.
Exhausting. But Mary Ellen, on the other hand, she didn't have a job. And this is when they decided to buy the Subway restaurant. The plan was for Mary Ellen to manage the day-to-day operations. Bob felt like this would give her something to do, give her a sense of purpose. And once Nicole was old enough, she started working at the Subway as well. So it's like keeping it all in the family.
A family Subway.
Yeah. But by the mid-1980s, Bob and Mary Ellen's relationship was becoming strained, and the main cause was their finances. Mary Ellen just couldn't stop spending all their money. She liked to go out and have a good time. She liked to go to bars and nightclubs and wear nice clothes. And soon, the Subway restaurant was failing. And when Bob starts going through the books, he finds that Mary Ellen has been stealing from the company.
Mary Ellen, girlfriend, just sit down and have a sandwich.
Eat a sandwich, you'll feel better.
Yes.
So not only is she being irresponsible with their finances, but she's tanking their business. Bob is paying for everything, including Nicole's private school, which that's his daughter. He didn't mind doing that. But he told Mary Ellen, hey, you're spending way too much. We're having trouble staying afloat here. Like, you've got to make some changes. He loved her dearly, but it was starting to get to him, as it would.
Oh, God, of course.
But Mary Ellen had no intention of changing her ways. When Bob arrived home from work one day, he found a 5-page Dear John letter she'd left him on the counter that said things like, "This marriage has gotten stale. I love you, but it just isn't working out. I hope we can be friends, but I can't live with you." She and Nicole moved into a condo, but not before she stole the refrigerator from Bob's home. Moving a refrigerator is a pain in the ass, so she clearly hired people, friends of hers, I'm sure, to come in and take this refrigerator while Bob was at work.
Oh my God. What a stupid. I imagine she called him just to be a bitch about it and was like, Is your refrigerator running? It did.
To my condo.
To my condo. And she just like clicks the phone down.
Something about that, like the Dear John letter's bad enough, but then to take the fridge, I would be so pissed. Like, think about all the food that you've put in there. I mean, maybe she emptied it out. I don't know. I would be like, leave my canned mochas. I need those.
Yeah.
I need my cheese. I need the milk that I just got.
Right.
I would be infuriated.
Livid.
But Bob really hoped they could work things out. He loves her. He loves Nicole. He wants to keep his family together. Mary Ellen had started divorce procedures, but she and Bob talked and agreed instead to a trial separation. During the separation, Bob continued to pay for Nicole's schooling, but also agreed to give Mary Ellen $1,600 a month in financial support. And at first you might think, why on earth would he give her money? I think in the agreement they made, if they got a divorce, he would be paying her some type of alimony anyways. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to help her get herself together, and he wanted to make sure Nicole was being taken care of. So I can kind of understand why he would give her the money, but he was also paying for the condo. She wielded some kind of power over him because she certainly knows how to get what she wants.
Yeah, gross.
So the whole time that they're separated, Bob is hopeful that he and Mary Ellen can repair the relationship. But while he's over there reading books titled How to Save Your Marriage, true story, he bought that book, which is really sad when you think about it. Mary Ellen was out at bars telling anyone and everyone who would listen that she wanted Bob dead.
What?
She had done a little research and learned that if they got a divorce, she'd get about $30,000. But if he died, she'd get more than $500,000 in life insurance policies, plus ownership of the Subway restaurant and the house they once shared. One of her friends said that they were out at a bar one night, and Mary Ellen just said she needed to borrow $10,000 to hire a hitman to kill her husband. Her friend didn't take her seriously. She thought it was just Mary Ellen letting off steam, like, he's driving me nuts, I want to kill him. Her friend said, quote, I just thought it was the alcohol talking. Because, you know, like how when you get drunk and they discuss a detailed plan about how you want your estranged husband murdered so you can collect on his life insurance.
Listen, y'all, alcohol is truth serum.
She's like, oh, that Mary Ellen, she's so drunk.
She's so drunk. She's just talking about murder.
But this wasn't just drunk rambling. Not to mention Mary Ellen's tolerance was pretty darn high because she was well known at the bars and clubs. So well known that she was able to get her then 16-year-old daughter and her daughter's friends into these bars and clubs with no problem.
I was going to ask, like, where's your kid while you're partying? With
her. Oh, yeah. It was not uncommon for Nicole's friends to come over to the condo and get all dressed up and go out drinking with Nicole's mom. And then there was the cocaine.
Cocaina.
Mary Ellen did a lot of it. So did her friends. So did Nicole.
Oh, okay. Now this is getting shady, shitty, yucky.
And so did the people Nicole associated with, including Jim Bernstein. Jim Bernstein was a drug dealer. He carried around a business card, and the only thing written on the business card was James R. Bernstein, specialist.
I'm surprised he didn't have like a weird poem on there.
Well, he wasn't the one that recited the poem. He's not the caller.
Oh, okay.
The caller gave
the name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wonder who Jim Bernstein is giving these cards to. Like, who do you hand that to?
Teenagers.
And why? Specialist in what? There's no contact information. How do people get in touch with you, Jim?
Just a specialist.
Just a specialist specializing in life.
Drugs.
Bernstein had met Nicole at a party, and he became infatuated with her. After knowing each other only a few months, they got engaged. She was 18, and he was about 27. Not horrible. They're both adults.
Not horrible. Not great.
What is kind of horrible is that Nicole was already engaged to another guy. She wore an engagement ring on each hand. and she would switch them up depending on which fiance she was hanging out with.
Ew. She learns this from her mom, though.
Exactly.
Like this, I don't blame her. Like she's in this environment. Also, Kate, Kesha was recently on the Drew Barrymore show, and she had a top that was like chains, like silver chains.
Okay.
And in between each of the chains were like diamond rings. And she was like, "This is my shirt of the men who tried."
Oh, damn. I have 0 rings for such shirt.
Same. Well, let's make our own engagement ring shirt.
So at this point, Bob is beginning to accept the fact that he and Mary Ellen are not going to reconcile. She's made it clear she's not willing to own up to her responsibilities. She's not handling her job at the restaurant very well. And he decides to proceed with a divorce. In October of 1988, Bob met with his divorce attorney. He wanted to take over control of the Subway restaurant, and he wanted to reduce the monthly payments he was making to Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen had to act quickly if she was going to get what she wanted, so she planned a get-together with Bob and several of his friends out at a restaurant. The intent was to get him really drunk, then once he was inebriated and vulnerable, a hitman that she had hired for $15,000 was going to attack and kill Bob in the parking lot as he was leaving the restaurant.
Oh.
The hitman never showed. That is my dog.
That scared me. I thought it
did
was
me
like
too a little bit.
I thought it was someone screaming.
And I think it sounded like a scream. She probably just sees another dog. So that hitman never showed. And Mary Ellen went to the next person. And that happened to be Jim Bernstein. She knew Jim wasn't just going to go out and kill this man that he's never met simply because she asked him to. So she was going to have to give him a good reason. She told Jim that Bob had physically and sexually abused Nicole for years, starting when she was just 12 years old. And Nicole corroborated this story. And the abuse didn't end with Nicole. Mary Ellen told Jim that Bob had also abused and raped her. Now, keep in mind, Nicole has been living with Mary Ellen. As far as we know, she doesn't have any contact with her biological father. Nicole and Mary Ellen moved out of Bob's house when Nicole was 16, which isn't super young, but she is still a child. To touch on what you just mentioned, I think in situations like these, it's not uncommon for one parent to poison their child against the other parent for whatever reason.
That happened to me.
Yikes.
No, I'm just saying it's easy to do. It's easy because you trust that parent.
Exactly.
There's complete trust there, and what they're saying to you is the reality. You're learning the reality from them.
From them. Because if that's the parent that is primarily raising you, why wouldn't you trust them? That's
of course.
The person you're going to look up to. Which that in itself is a form of child abuse.
Oh my God, absolutely. And this might be too personal, whatever, but like when I started therapy, a couple of years ago to sort of confront this, there's a really good book out there it's called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents.
I think you told me about this.
Yeah. I highly recommend if you dealt with that.
So it's not unheard of that Nicole might take whatever Mary Ellen tells her at face value.
100%.
So like if Mary Ellen were to say to Nicole, hey, we've got to move out of Bob's house and into our own place because Bob's been beating me and we've got to get out of here. What reason would Nicole have to think her mom was lying?
Of course.
Not that I'm saying that's what Mary Ellen said to her. I don't know what Mary Ellen might have told Nicole, but I do think there was some manipulation on Mary Ellen's part to get Nicole to go along with her plans.
Yeah.
Mary Ellen is providing her underage daughter with cocaine, alcohol. She's constantly complaining about Bob and saying they'd be better off if he were dead. She knew how to manipulate her daughter.
Yeah.
So when Mary Ellen brings up this abuse allegation, Nicole went along with it. And she might have even believed it to an extent. We don't know. So Nicole tells Jim, my dad raped me for years. It started when I was 12. He's a monster. And Mary Ellen offered to pay him to kill Bob. Now, back to the investigation. Detectives get a phone call. The guy on the other end of the line is like, hey, detective, a rose is a rose, but the nose always knows. And the detective's like, oh, hey, buddy. It probably didn't happen like that.
Okay.
But it's the same anonymous caller that called before.
Yeah.
And he tells the detective that it was Mary Ellen who hired Jim Bernstein, but that Jim Bernstein hired a man named Mike Silva to do the actual killing.
Oh.
And the detective is like, how do you know all this? And the caller says, because before Mary Ellen hired Jim, she tried to hire me. And Jim is a buddy of mine. He's dating my girlfriend's friend, Nicole Samuels.
Uh-huh.
So this caller seems pretty credible.
Yeah.
His name was David Navarro, but I never mention him again, so you don't need to remember it.
Let's just take a minute to appreciate David Navarro.
Thank you, David
Thanks,
Navarro.
Dave.
The detectives track down Jim Bernstein, specialist, and he agrees to be interviewed, but he wasn't giving anything up. He denied having any involvement. Then they bring in Mary Ellen while Jim is there, and the officers have them wait in a room together while detectives are watching and listening on video. But they don't say anything incriminating. Jim makes one comment kind of like, they're going to try to pin this on both of us, or something to that effect, but Mary Ellen doesn't say anything. So detectives had no reason to hold them, and they were free to go. But for the investigation, this is when things really ramp up.
Okay.
There are several people now saying Mary Ellen had been planning this, but there's no actual evidence tying her to the crime. It's all hearsay at this point.
Yeah.
So they get search warrants for Jim Bernstein's apartment, Mary Ellen's condo, Mike Silva's residence, as well as warrants for all their phone records. Jim wasn't home when detectives arrived, so they just did a quick search but didn't find anything linking him to the crime. However, they did learn that the day after Bob's body was found, Jim took out a $25,000 life insurance policy, naming Nicole Samuels as the beneficiary. Detectives searched Mike Silva's residence, but didn't turn up any evidence there. And when they questioned Silva, didn't really go anywhere.
Okay.
When they went to Mary Ellen's condo, they did find some things that were interesting.
Okay.
Would you like to know what they found?
Please tell me every single thing.
Oh, some receipts and bank statements showing she'd been really busy in the months after Bob's murder. Busy spending all that insurance money. She sold the Subway restaurant and got, I believe it was $70,000 from that. She bought a Porsche and paid $50,000 in cash for it. She purchased several items from a store called Trashy Lingerie.
Ew.
Rented limousines, threw catered parties, put $180,000 down on a condo in Cancun, and even hired male strippers for her teenage daughter's birthday. Don't say that you wish your mom had hired male strippers for your birthday as a teenager.
No, as a teenager, I was very reserved. I once went to Club Utopia when I was 18 years old. It was a gay bar in Parkersburg. And I was kind of like seeing this guy, or we had met there and went on a date, but whatever, it didn't go anywhere. I was there for his birthday. Okay. And there were male strippers. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never seen this before. My goodness. And I sat down and I was like, you know, kind of bopping along, watching the strippers. And then
as you do.
And then one of them came up to me and pulled my chair up and then stood up on my chair and started like gyrating on my face. And he poked me in the eye.
Fuck.
With his penis.
He liked you.
He had a thong on, so it wasn't like.
I assumed he didn't whip it out.
No. But I was like, my
eyes.
And that's how I lost, and I pop out a fake eye. I'm sorry to bring that up. Anywho, strippers, no. Nicole, Mary Ellen.
But yes to Kevin.
Come on over.
Mary Ellen had spent nearly all of Bob's life insurance money, $500,000, in just a matter of months. The real kicker, though, was a picture officers found. It was a Polaroid of Mary Ellen lying on a bed naked, covered in $20,000 worth of $50 and $100 bills.
I hate this bitch.
She is a bitch.
Fuck her. Shut up. You love money and cocaine and you spend it all. So how are you going to maintain?
I guess she's going to have to kill someone else.
She'll kill more people. Yeah.
The person that took the picture was Mary Ellen's new boyfriend. And they were planning to live in that condo in Cancun together. And I will say, he didn't know about her past. He didn't know what she was all about.
I mean, well, if you asked me to take a naked picture of you on a pile of money, I think I would understand who you are. Like, that says a lot about someone.
I mean, maybe he just thought she had a really good job.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know.
Hey, people with good jobs, do you ever just go to the bank?
Do you ever just like get naked and pour money on yourself?
Money?
And then have someone take Polaroids so that you can keep them and look at it? We digress.
Okay.
The phone records showed that both Mary Ellen and Mike Silva had made several calls to Jim Bernstein, but he hadn't returned their calls. So they still don't have solid evidence tying the three of them together. Detectives go to the high school Nicole had attended and interviewed her friends. And many of them mentioned how Nicole had talked for months about getting someone to kill her dad. She'd ask her friends if they knew where she could get a gun. She'd say, hey, my mom found someone to kill my dad. We just need a gun. Do you know anyone? Just a casual lunchroom conversation. And yet none of her friends reported this to anyone. Furthermore, none of Mary Ellen's friends reported it when she talked about having her husband killed. Let's start taking people seriously when they say they want to do murder. Let's go to the authorities. If it turns out that person was joking, great. No one dies, and that person learns not to joke about murder.
Right.
But if they're serious about doing murder, it'd be helpful if the proper authorities had a heads up. That's all I'm saying.
Just pick up the phone and make the call.
That's the thing. You could be anonymous. You could say, hey, roses are red and violets are blue, and guess what? You know who? I don't know.
Kate, that was brilliant.
Was it? I don't think it made sense. You know who is trying to do murder.
You know who is trying to kill you.
Yikes. I'm just saying, it can be an anonymous call.
Anonymous tip lines are out there.
Detective Daly wanted to interview Jim Bernstein again, but he was nowhere to be found. His apartment manager said he hadn't seen him in weeks. Meanwhile, Mary Ellen was getting nervous. She knew that when they had her sit in that waiting area with Jim, that they were starting to connect the dots. So in a feeble attempt to try and throw Detective Daly off the case, she filed a complaint against him, saying that he had been harassing her and had made inappropriate comments towards her during their interviews together. Those interviews are taped, obvs, so it was easy for them to review the tape and see that no, there was no evidence Detective Daly had harassed her. Think, Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
So then, as a little joke to herself, just like a little ha-ha, she taught her pet parrot, because yes, she's got a pet parrot.
Of course she fucking has a pet parrot.
She taught him to say, Daly's a dick, whenever her friends would come over. So just imagine going to this woman's home and having her pet bird mock the lead investigator in a murder case. Daly's a dick.
This is ridiculous.
This sounds made up,
but
it's
ridiculous.
Not. This is like absolutely true. A few weeks later, an hour north of North Hills, a hiker was out just enjoying the day when he saw something down an embankment that didn't look quite right. As he got a little closer, he realized what he was looking at was a corpse.
Dead body.
He immediately called authorities. Unfortunately, there was no identification to be found, and this corpse had obviously been out in the elements for several weeks.
Ooh.
In the dry, hot California summer.
Oh, God.
And was completely mummified. The body was brought in for examination, and in order to try and identify who this person was, the medical examiner removed one of the hands from the corpse and rehydrated one of the fingers, and from that, they were able to get a fingerprint. I think that is the coolest thing.
I was going to say, can you just stick a mummy in water and
Well, I don't know if it's like that.
Oh.
I don't know how. I'm sure they have to like inject
Oh,
something.
I'm sure. Okay.
I didn't even know that was possible, that you can rehydrate a mummified finger and get a print from that.
That's crazy. I love that.
It's kind of amazing.
I wonder if there's a forensic files on something like that.
I bet there is.
Oh, I got to dive back in.
When they ran the fingerprint, they got lucky in the fact that it belonged to someone who had a record and therefore was in the system. Jim Bernstein. Jim had gotten spooked that the detectives were closing in, so he told Mary Ellen he was thinking of skipping town. And she was like, you don't need to do that. It's going to be fine. You can move in with my friend Anne and her boyfriend Paul and just lay low for a while. But Mary Ellen wasn't suggesting this arrangement out of the kindness of her heart, if you can believe it.
I don't think there's any kindness in there.
She had other plans.
Yeah.
This woman, Anne Hambley, was indeed good friends with Mary Ellen. So good, in fact, that she showed up to support Mary Ellen the night she and Nicole had found Bob murdered. But Anne already knew Mary Ellen was going to find Bob dead, because Mary Ellen had been talking about having him killed for a while, and even called Anne in the days before the hit was carried out, telling her how she was going to do it. That she was going to call and leave messages about dropping off the dog to help establish an alibi. Then on December 7th of 1988, 2 days before Mary Ellen and Nicole found Bob, Mary Ellen called Anne and told her the job was done, Bob was dead, and she would, quote unquote, discover his body in 2 days. So she's had this whole plan.
Oh my God.
So Anne knew all along what had happened. And maybe she was scared Mary Ellen would do something similar to her if she didn't stand by Mary Ellen's side, since she knew so much about the situation. Who knows? But when Mary Ellen approached Anne and told her she was worried Jim Bernstein was going to spill his guts to the cops and she wanted to have him killed, Anne said, "Oh, my boyfriend Paul could probably kill him." So Mary Ellen has Jim move in with Anne and Paul. Mary Ellen asks Paul to kill Jim. Paul hesitates, like you would, I would hope.
I would hope too.
But Mary Ellen happened to know that Paul's brother had been killed by drug dealers. So she told Paul that Jim sold drugs to kids and he was really dangerous.
Oh, fuck.
So she just says whatever she needs to in order to get the person to do what she wants. It's like when she told Jim that Bob had abused Nicole. Mm-hmm. This statement that Jim sells drugs to kids, along with $5,000, was enough to convince Paul to kill Jim. And he enlisted the help of his friend, Daryl Edwards. How does Mary Ellen know this many people who are willing to kill a person? And how do all these people know someone that will help them?
Maybe this is just this sounds like the club scene in the 80s in LA.
What is in the water in that part of California?
Everybody's just hard on cocaine.
They're all on drugs. Yeah. I will say they are all on drugs.
Yeah, they're all on, and you're not thinking straight.
No. Mary Ellen told Paul that she and Nicole were taking a vacation in Cancun, and she wanted him and Daryl to kill Jim while they were gone so that she'd have an alibi. And it would look like she wasn't, a part of it.
Right.
So on June 27th, Paul and Daryl told Jim that there were some drug dealers up in Fraser Park about an hour north, and they were planning to go rob them. And hey, you want to come with us? Initially, Jim said he didn't want to go, but they convinced him. Paul drove the group, and after about 50 minutes or so, Daryl screams, "Now!" Paul slams on the brakes, and Daryl begins choking Jim.
Oh my God.
Paul started hitting Jim, but accidentally also hit Daryl as well, because these guys are messy as fuck.
Well, and
probably on drugs and
high.
Drunk. So Daryl kind of loses his grip on Jim, and Jim was able to jump out of the car and get away briefly.
Okay.
Paul and Daryl get out. They chase Jim down and begin strangling him, crushing his larynx. Jim struggled for 3 to 5 minutes before going limp.
Oh,
and
God.
Then Paul and Daryl just pushed his body over the embankment. Then the two guys went back to Anne's house and told her what happened. So she calls up Mary Ellen, and they had a code for how Anne was to tell her Jim was dead, because Mary Ellen was sure that her phones were being bugged. She always thought someone was listening. So she has this code, and Anne says, "I spoke with my sister. which meant Jim's dead. You can come back from Cancun. When the mummified corpse was determined to be Jim, detectives did another search of his apartment. And this time, stuck inside a book, they found a prepaid calling card that they'd missed before.
Oh.
This is how Jim had been returning calls from Mike Silva and Mary Ellen. And the record showed the three of them had all been in communication in the days leading up to Bob's murder, as well as within 30 minutes of his body being discovered.
Wow.
Finally, they feel they have enough evidence to make arrests. But when they went to arrest Mike Silva, they couldn't. He was dead. Silva, who lived with his parents and girlfriend, had shot and killed his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself.
What the fuck?
And his parents were home when it happened.
Oh, no.
His motive was not related to the Bob Samuels case. It had been over an argument with his girlfriend. But, like, damn.
Holy shit. How old was this guy?
I think he was 28.
Okay. These are young people.
Yeah. Mary Ellen was arrested, but authorities chose not to charge Nicole. During the trial, the defense tried to claim that Mary Ellen was just this sweet suburban housewife who liked to bake cookies and lead the Bible study among her fellow inmates. They said Bob Samuels was an abusive drunk who closed down the bars and was a violent alcoholic.
Yeah.
But that's not the picture his friends and coworkers painted of him. His colleague, Gary McLeod, who I mentioned earlier, had said Bob was not a partier. He was a quiet guy, very focused. Nicole even took the stand, detailing her father's abuse, saying horrible things about the man who raised her, that he'd raped her 8 times between the ages of 13 and 16, that he beat her and yelled at her. But there's no evidence to back it up.
Okay, yeah.
And in all the time detectives had interviewed Nicole and her mom, neither woman ever mentioned any abuse. In fact, they said that he wouldn't hurt a fly, if you remember from the beginning of this episode, that he was generous, always helping out his neighbors. That's what Mary Ellen and Nicole said. One could argue that they were scared to tell authorities about the abuse.
Okay.
I could see that if he were alive.
Yeah.
But he's dead. He can't hurt them. So why would they still be covering up this alleged abuse?
Oh, 100%.
Bob had no criminal record, no complaints filed against him. Nicole testified that she did confide in her school counselor about the physical and sexual abuse. But when asked for the counselor's name, she said, "Oh, I can't remember." Furthermore, school counselors are mandated reporters.
Yeah.
If a child comes to them and says, "I'm being abused," by law, that counselor has to report it to authorities. There was no report. One thing that bothered me about this allegation of Bob being a drunk, Mary Ellen had planned that party where she was planning for him to get drunk so he would be confused and vulnerable when he got attacked in the parking lot. A friend of Mary Ellen's testified about this plan because Mary Ellen had told her about it. If Bob truly was a drunk, as Mary Ellen claims, how are a few drinks at dinner going to make him so confused and vulnerable that he doesn't see this attacker or whatever?
Right.
He's going to have a higher tolerance than that. It just tells me that he was not, in fact, an alcoholic. And Mary Ellen knew that. This is just something that she's made up because she's a manipulator.
Yeah.
The defense in this case essentially put Bob on trial and tried to just slander his name because he's not there to defend himself.
Exactly. That's the lowbrow way to move forward.
Most of Mary Ellen and Nicole's friends testified for the prosecution in exchange for immunity. So they all turned on them real fast.
Well, welcome to the thing that you do, Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen.
Anne's the friend. Anne Hambley also turned on them. She was granted immunity for her testimony. So even though she knew about both murders, even though she had offered up her own boyfriend as a hitman, she was never charged with anything.
Which, I understand, but she should have got something, in my opinion.
I understand it because they just need to get Mary Ellen off the streets. But a lot of people got off easy.
Yeah.
Jim Bernstein's murderers, Paul Gall and Daryl Edwards, turned themselves in and agreed to a plea deal for their testimony. So they got the lesser charge of second degree rather than first degree, and they have both since been released. Deputy District Attorney Jan Marisi did an excellent job tearing into Mary Ellen's story.
Good.
She presented the 5-page Dear John letter Mary Ellen had written, and nowhere in it does it mention any kind of abuse. So Marisi asks her, why didn't you mention that? Mary Ellen doesn't say, oh, because I was scared of what he might do, or I was afraid Nicole might see it, or whatever. She doesn't say that. Instead, she says, well, I didn't want to air our dirty laundry on paper. No, you just aired it to anyone who would listen at bars and at clubs and at parties.
Right. Yeah.
Marisi also showed the picture of Mary Ellen lying naked in bed, covered in money, which certainly didn't help the image the defense tried to create of this poor, battered widow. Which brings up another good point by Marisi. In an interview, she said the case was unusual because Mary Ellen is claiming I was abused, but also saying, but I didn't kill him and I didn't want him dead. So Mary Ellen is basically saying, look at all the reasons I had to kill him, but I didn't kill him. But if I had a reason to, but I didn't.
Jesus Christ.
And if the motive was the alleged abuse, why not spend that insurance money on therapy for your daughter, who you claim has endured years of horrific abuse? No, instead you hired her some strippers. Some other interesting things that came to light during this trial. At one point during their relationship, Mary Ellen beat Bob with a broomstick. So it seems she was the one who was physically abusive. During her initial interview, she flirted with the officers, even rubbing Detective John Beer's bald head and saying, "Ugh, I love bald guys." You've just discovered your husband dead.
God, Kate, I hate this lady.
She's whack.
The worst.
And not long after Bob's death, Nicole and Mary Ellen moved back into his house. And Mary Ellen complained to friends that the hit job wasn't done well. It was too messy, and she didn't expect there to be blood everywhere. What did you think was going to happen when you hired someone to blast the back of your husband's head with a shotgun?
Yeah. And death itself is not clean.
It's not clean. No.
Ever.
And one of the most chilling things that when I read this, I was like, what?
Ugh.
She just threw a towel over the blood-stained hallway and went about her life. Imagine every day you walk down that hallway. Think about Nicole every day stepping on the towel that is covering the blood stain from your dad's murder, which you participated in orchestrating.
Oh, that's dark.
I know she wasn't charged with anything, but the evidence against Nicole is pretty damning. She told multiple people on more than one occasion that her mom was looking for someone to kill her dad, and she asked her friends if they knew where she could get a gun. And it was revealed in the trial that Nicole signed some of the checks used to pay for these hits. Mary Ellen used the Subway restaurant to make it look like she was just paying employees. Like, here's Subway sandwich maker. Here's your $5,000.
Hey.
What a bonus. There were checks made out to Jim Bernstein. He didn't work there. And Nicole signed some of these. So you can't tell me she had nothing to do with it.
Oh, she absolutely did.
I mean, again, as we've discussed before, she's being manipulated.
I don't blame her. There are instances you can, as a parent, beat false memories into your child's head.
Yes.
And she's doing horrible things. It's because of her mom.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a mom who is taking you to bars and giving you drugs.
Well, and you're all hopped up on coke and alcohol. I can't even imagine.
You're not in your right mind.
No. And her mind's still forming.
Exactly. The jury found Mary Ellen guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstances of having arranged multiple murders and committing murder for financial gain. Mm-hmm. They recommended the death penalty.
Whoa.
At the sentencing, several people gave character statements asking that the court spare her life. This included her elderly mother who was battling cancer, who Mary Ellen had barely spoken to and never visited, and she had not told her that she had come into $500,000, which I'm sure could have helped with some of those cancer medical bills.
Treatments, yeah.
Mary Ellen's first husband also spoke on her behalf. Ronnie Lee Jameson told the jury that Mary Ellen had been a, quote, loving, understanding, generous spouse during their 11 years of marriage, even though she divorced him and kicked him out of the house when he lost his job. Not sure how kicking someone when they're down is loving, understanding, or generous, but I guess we have different definitions.
Well, and if the money's not rolling in, then you're useless.
Under cross-examination, however, he admitted that Mary Ellen was a compulsive liar who gambled and used drugs throughout their marriage.
Ah, there it is.
And in a last-ditch effort to save his client, one of the defense attorneys, Josh Groshen, told the jury, quote, don't kill my client. Mary Ellen is a woman who lost her way in life. Call it a midlife crisis.
Groshen, you little bitch. Don't you dare say that.
If you have a midlife crisis, dye your hair. Get a makeover. Don't hire someone to kill your husband.
It's like, I was just really upset and not sure where to go in life, so I went on a murder spree.
Yeah. Mary Ellen was sentenced to death, becoming the 5th woman on California's death row. However, in 2019, her sentence was commuted to life without parole. Outside of the courtroom, one of her other defense attorneys, Phil Namath, said, quote, this whole case needs a 12-step program. Several, in fact.
That's amazing.
Here. I do want to talk a little bit about Nicole.
Yeah.
By the time the trial rolled around, she had a 3-year-old son, and a couple of years later, she had another son. Mm-hmm. While I do think she should have faced some legal consequences, she was an adult at the time Bob was murdered.
Yeah.
And I do think she should have faced consequences for her participation in all of this. I want to say that I was able to find her online, and I found out a little bit about her life after all this happened.
Oh, damn.
I fully believe that a person can be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
She is now a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, as well as a childbirth educator.
That's awesome.
She's a grandmother. She has said that she had a dysfunctional family and a traumatic past that she has worked to grow from. And because it took her so long to recover from all of it, both physically and mentally, she wants to do everything she can to help others work through their issues. I really think her mom brainwashed her.
Yes.
Got her into drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
Made her believe Bob was this horrible person. I'm not excusing her part in all of it, but I just want to acknowledge that she didn't have the best role model raising her, as we've discussed. It does seem that she's made the best of her life.
Good.
And has dedicated it to helping others. And I think that's a good note for us to end on.
I love that. Good for Nicole.
Yeah. Bad on Mary Ellen. Boo.
Fuck you to hell, Mary Ellen.
But Nicole is making something of her life. And I don't remember which one it was, but one of the hitmen that killed Jim Bernstein, he was also like in this work rehabilitation program, like trying to better himself. A lot of the others just kind of faded into the background that were involved. They moved out of the state. I found several of them, but they're all just living their lives and haven't seemed to cause, any further or been involved in any other crimes. So I'm not like gonna, say where they are and what they're doing. But yeah, I was glad to hear that Nicole came through it all.
She rebounded. Yeah, she came through it. Is Mary Ellen still in jail?
Oh yeah, she'll die there. And she's only like 78.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, have fun with the rest of your days.
Guys, don't do murder.
Don't do it.
Don't do hiring a hitman.
Don't hire a hitman.
But do leave your comments on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or you can send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to be like Brooke, Penny, Alicia, and User, and Gone Girl, you can pop on over to Patreon at
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast. And don't forget that September 1st is the deadline.
And we are going to do a crime couch on this episode for the Murderinos, because there's some other stuff that came out in trial that this episode was long enough. I didn't want to like put everything in, but there's some other things I just want to like briefly talk about.
Yeah.
So if you're on the Murderino tier on Patreon, check out our crime couch. I'll probably put it out on Tuesday where we talk a little bit more about this case. Or maybe I'll put it out Monday night. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We're just going to go with the flow here.
Go, how we're feeling.
And we're feeling fine. We're not doing murder.
Right. Looking good and feeling fine. Looking good and feeling fine.
Bye.
Bye.